Direct overhead gang stalker, black and white, direct overhead, gang stalking. Now we're uploading Reptilian shapeshifter movie to YouTube, direct overhead, and the activity has picked up since I posted the movie about Trump. We have the approaching buzzing helicopter here, approaching behind the tree, so as to hide behind the tree, but it's a direct overhead. We're uploading Reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. So there he goes, black and white LAPD, direct overhead. That's a buzz. And by the way, they really picked up that activity since the last movie I posted about Icke and Trump. Got you on dash cam, bud. Okay, so security greeting me as I leave the premises once again. Notice the same pattern. So you have the security guard. Let's see if we can get him in the camera here. No, I can't get him. But anyway.
Yeah, now the other third type that got mentioned on mission was reptilians. But every time that they were mentioned, it was really quickly hushed up by whoever else was on the other end of the line. Shut up, don't say that, is what they were doing.
They don't want to talk about the reptilians.
They don't want to talk about the reptilian presence at all. They would talk about the tall whites and the grays being in the lab of environments. You know, not a lot, but some. But these reptilians, it was like nobody wanted to talk about it.
Was there any sort of an explanation that anybody give you of why they don't want to talk about it?
No. The only time I got any inkling was that when I, was out of the program and other people started to talk to me about all the different, things. And they're like, well, how many races are there? I don't know. But some people talked about the reptilians. They're like, do you realize that these are evil? And I had to listen to that. Well, to give it some credibility, I did do some research after that person talked to me, because I did see that there is a reptilian race that is very malign like that. And they even have, according to what I read, this one race has a penchant for blood for some reason. It's like a shark frenzy with them. They have,
like a real reptile.
It's a euphoric experience for them. Yeah, a reptilian race that does that.
Someone did a study on this, yes. 5 million Americans believe that there's reptilians among us. Look it up.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check back to see if you're still subscribed, and go to freeourworld.org.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan.
I don't think that this is what the majority of the conservative, Republican, MAGA base voted for. And there's a lot of concern, and Tulsi Gabbard, for instance, has made basically a 180.
However, it seems that Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on Tulsi Gabbard, because on the 21st of June, she posted a tweet claiming that, quote, "The dishonest media is intentionally taking my testimony out of context and spreading fake news as a way to manufacture division. America has intelligence that Iran is at the point that it can produce a nuclear weapon within weeks to months if they decide to finalize the assembly. President Trump has been clear that can't happen, and I agree," end quote.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
President Trump says that he doesn't want war with Iran, but that's exactly what he wants, because that's exactly what Saudi Arabia, Netanyahu, Al-Qaeda, Bolton, Haley, and other neocons and neolibs want. President Trump promised us during his campaign to get the United States out of stupid wars.
Obviously, the war in Iraq was a big, fat mistake. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East. We will stop racing to topple foreign regimes that we know nothing about.
But he's on the brink of launching a very stupid and costly war with Iran. We have to stop President Trump from starting a war with Iran. And the president is listening to his national security advisor, John Bolton, and other war hawks in his administration who have championed the war with Iraq in the past and who've been pushing for war with Iran for years.
Our goal should be regime change in Iran.
Okay, we've got our midnight buzz. You'll notice it's not here yet, but they're projecting the sound in a way that I can hear it coming, and watch and see if my prediction is true, if it comes over in this area or not. I'll stand out over here. So I'm standing over here. Here, looks like he's going to come from over this direction here. Here he comes. Here's your taxes paid for a Los Angeles Police Department helicopter gang stalker. We'll see if we get any orbs. See if the orbs show up. You can see them on the monitor, but you can't see them with the naked eye, even though it's a glowing orb. Your taxes for Reptilian Los Angeles Police Department helicopters for uploading Reptilian shapeshifter movies to YouTube. David Icke was in the same cult that I was held captive in for 22 years. I witnessed him torture, rape, and sacrifice many babies and children and enjoy every moment of it. He is also reptilian and was very skilled at shapeshifting. When I first saw the people posting stuff about David Icke being a reptilian shapeshifter, I thought, of course, that was just people trying to discredit him, because we see that all the time. That's one of the first things that they did to attack me at my channel. It's one reason why I finally decided to turn the comment section off, because what they would do is they were designed, not just, see, I thought it was just random people coming at me, and I realized sometimes it is, but I saw a continuous repeating pattern in the discredit attempts at the comments. So what I believe, and I heard this, now this sounds like so far-fetched and so wild, so out of bounds for most people to realize, especially people without biblical knowledge, because they do not believe that God's word is actually true. There's a witness of people in hell sitting behind computers, okay? As weird as that may be, but it makes sense. And they're still tortured there, but probably less so because they have a job there to do various things, you know, create, and you can bet, I heard about this one guy who was a black sorcerer, basically, in the satanic realm, and he was talking about how these some of these souls go to hell, go to in school in the hell dimension, which is essentially the fourth dimension. Remember, Arizona Wilder said they want out of that dimension. Maybe that's one reason why a lot of people were seeing fear in her eyes when she was talking to David Icke. But so I thought that they were talking that whole thing. And by the way, it's so interesting to see this now, because see now also, just so you understand, Jeanette Archer, I was not able to find that article at her site, but I believe in the person who posted it, and they were wise to get screenshots of it, because a lot of times these people change their mind about coming forward for various reasons. I've seen that time and time again. Also, people that have come to me personally, and I witnessed it personally, that they changed their mind about coming forward. Okay, and so that's no surprise. And then also, of course, like I said, she may not have wanted to talk with me for a number of reasons, probably for being a Christian, but she may not have wanted to go public, or she changed her mind, or she's been, or she's no longer talking about the truth or whatever. But whatever it is, you can see that posting that somebody made, I found that, by the way, on BitChute. Somebody was wise to take screenshots of it and then put it in a little blast movie, because otherwise the record of that would never get out. See, just so you understand, in the truth movement, a lot of times the only thing that remains, like a Peggy Kane and her great witness, I think that they took care of her somehow, okay? And you'll never find out whether they killed, cloned, and replaced, got that person to shut up, whatever it is, they got rid of them, okay? We know, for instance, in the great book by Susan Reed, Body Snatchers, the Body Snatchers, whatever, there's a longer title to the book, but basically she actually had a full conversation with reptilians, because they were assigned to attach themselves to her, and then that one reptilian that was so frustrated with his job that he decided to go ahead and spill the beans to Susan Reed, but they found her face up in a lake, or in a river, whatever it was. They basically it was like an obvious assassination. which also, as I continue to report my witness, I know about 3 attempts on myself. Can't prove it. People may say it's conjecture, you have it wrong, whatever. But there are some things I can tell you that the Lord lets you know, and that was one of them. And but it's also, I remember, and also there was that one guy, Gorilla something or other was his handle on YouTube, and that guy was actually, he was a British man, and he was following David Icke around this one park where he had given a talk or something, and he was like confronting him, because he'd been trying to confront him online and everything, like saying, hey, aren't you like, false or satanic or something else like that. But he was on his ass, and right away, even though David Icke had one of the most, I would say, even though it turns out now that he is a reptilian shapeshifter, but I will still say to this day, we needed another reptilian to give us the best news about the reptilians, okay? Because I think not only are they more competent, but they also have an inside track. And one of the things about this that I think is the case that we find out is that how they can do it is they are split personality. I found this out. This is a very, very key point to all this. When you are talking to these people, they may in fact be genuine. Like when David Icke goes on the Alex Jones show, or talking with anybody. I think that in a lot of ways these people are genuine, and they do not remember, because they are what? Split personalities. They take their alter out. They have a way of compartmentalizing a single person. They put away a part of their soul, an alter, and then they bring the other one out. And that one, even though that the one that's like the evil one, that's the total insider, the one that knows about their own shape shifting. But I mean, I think these people also, even his other alter, they know. And I've also had a personal relationship, like I told you, with the Scarlet Witch, and that was a case where the Lord showed me through. I was thick-headed. I wouldn't have figured it out on my own. Because what happened was people were sent to me at first to first of all, my Anna's lawyer and former priest, a great Thai gentleman who helped us out and was a great writer and everything. He was the first one that informed me about the Scarlet Witch, that it was someone that I knew, and I couldn't believe it. When he first informed me about that, straight up couldn't believe it. I couldn't see it. It took several other witnesses and people actually that the Lord sent to inform me that this was going on, that someone who was a well-studied and Christian that I respected, a biblical Christian that I respected, okay, and this person acted as a friend towards me, and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what was going on, that it was that this other altar was brought forward. And it was this evil person attacking, killing, and injuring our friends, okay? And really could shoot those fireballs. So I think it's the same thing with a lot of these super soldiers. They compartmentalize it. And I think, frankly, I think that's...
Well, hello, everybody.
James Rink there, but I think that's the case with him. And it may also be the case with Jimmy Payne, but I don't think so. I think with Jimmy Payne... he's one of those people that can remember everything eventually. He may not, in certain cases, though. He said one time when he had that encounter with Mona, he couldn't remember what happened. But in most of the other, I would say, Earth-based memory-altering facilities, he was able to get past that programming, and he is not a split personality. But I think James may be, and that may be the reason why Jimmy Payne's movies actually were deleted at first, because his other alter came forward and did that. I do not know. Okay, maybe YouTube, or he was worried about YouTube, and that was. But I didn't want to talk with him about it. Didn't want to grill him about it. Some things, you just kind of realize that you can't question people about. And once again, this is no disrespect to him. He was, I've got a lot of interesting information from him, but the truth is that what happens is. I've talked about this before. With the home altar is a friendly, truth-revealing person that you like and seems to be and basically is on the right side of things. But the fact is that when they get taken out on missions, or when they go into their their satanic enclave, whatever, their other personality gets brought forward. What we hear also with this one reptilian shapeshifter, this one other female that we heard about, they inject you with something, and then it brings out that other alter, and there could be other ways that the other alter is brought out. But in any case, yeah, that's what happens. There's split personalities. So you get one alter doing one thing, and that's why they can seem as genuine as they are, because really that person doesn't remember. Okay, the Christian that the Scarlet Witch was by every account. See, I you can get to know somebody. You can. I found out when I got into all this starting in 2013. When you start communicating people, you can get to know them through email. You can see what they are. Sometimes you can see that there's something off, and sometimes you can tell when they're genuine. And I communicated in depth with a lot of these people, and and also just from observing their words, but also you might be able to psychically in tune as you tune into the words of that person. You're that psychic, you can somehow feel it, but you can be completely duped. When I was looking at David Icke, at a certain point, there was something where he kind of changed, or something happened to him, and I believe that was the episode that the Super Soldier Talk interviewee Jay Essex, who was a psychic guy, and he said that David Icke and Andrew Basago were they tortured, they chaired, they put him in the chair, chaired him, tortured the hell out of him to do this or that. But they are assets, okay? They are assets, and there's one part of them that's in the know, and it's that alter knows everything, all the insider stuff, what the reptilians and all the other grades and the deals and all the total satanic reptilian insider access knowledge. That person is fully plugged in. That alter is fully plugged in, but the other alter, I just call it the home alter, doesn't know, and that's how they can get really a sincere seeming person, because that person actually doesn't remember that other satanic alter, which in my experience is they're highly evil. They really the Scarlet Witch, for instance, was when she was attacking Anna the first time at the temple and showed up with a bunch of other witches, she was cackling, going, you think you're gonna win, but we'll destroy you, or I'm just paraphrasing, but that's what the police captain, the Japanese police captain, and the Thai a former priest, now a lawyer, that was a good friend of my Anna and was with her a lot. That's what they witnessed to me, that the Scarlet Witch, who came to attack us in Thailand, was behaving like. But like I said, I knew her personally, and was once again, just as another, I psychically into, and there was something that was, troubled me enough about her. And I thought at the time, I even made a movie saying reptilians turn my heart against, allies. But it was actually, I found out later, when it turns out there was something to be, cautious about, or suspicious about, because it turns out that she was, in fact, the Scarlet Witch. But I thought it was, she had been not only a friend to me, but a highly contributing, financially, friend to me. Yeah. And it's it's one of those things that like I said, I couldn't believe it. So I was looking at David Icke, and remember, I don't know if you remember this or not, but as you were looking at his face, you see these weird patterns, like this kind of like bunch. Let me see if I can do it. Like kind of like bunched up, and it looked like these patterns, and probably that's something like that has something to do, because I remember seeing that, and it's kind of weird, but I thought all the people saying, I thought that was just so now I learn after all this time, and this is another piece of interesting knowledge that we can plug into this here if you're paying attention to all this, and the human world is learning about the truth of these reptilian shapeshifters living among us, that some of the best people that are revealing some of this stuff are in fact insiders that are split personality, one alter, doesn't know, one altar does. And so it's just fascinating now, after all this time, after it's 12 years later, okay, 12 years later, after first really, finding out about David Icke and listening to all of his work, his fantastic movie, Revelations of a Mother Goddess with David Icke and Arizona Wilder, that first and still is one of the most mind-blowing movies if they allow it to remain up on YouTube. And it turns out now, because of the revelation of Jeanette Archer, the other British lady who was part of this, in her earlier life, she was part of the satanic, situation, reveals that it was his job to be someone who reveals all of this for the karmic letting off the hook thing, where if they tell you and no one objects, which I can tell you, you know what? I'll just say it to these reptilians and the people that are listening. I think you're pretty safe. I have to say, these people don't want to know. I can tell you no one in my family wanted to know, even other Christians. Okay, well, my sister is really the only other Christian that I know about in my family, but one of my sisters. But I mean, in general, like if I were to tell anybody around here, you're a freakazoid, that not only they're not interested in what you have to say, they don't like you anymore. If you were to tell them that, but not only that, they just straight up don't want to hear anything like this or hear about it. So I just think that in reality, the truth is there's the market for this information is niche. So it's not that many people want to hear about it, and as such, I think what Revelations and the end times and the destruction of Babylon basically say is that most of the occupants of the earth deserve what's coming. And so as such also, they are not given to be able to even believe that any of all this could be going on. But frankly, I have used it as a vessel of warning to people that would be interested in the reptilian shapeshifters, but wouldn't be interested in word one about the most interesting and most relevant information, the information about God, our creator of all souls, creator of all lights, he who is coming, who has the keys to heaven and hell. Okay? I have the keys to heaven and hell, he says. Okay? And that may not mean that much to a lot of people that hear it. But one day, the information that it says that some people will be allowed to remain in the earth, some souls will be allowed to remain in the earth, but some souls will be cut off from the earth. You say, well, I don't really care about that because I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in the blood on the cross being the only thing that provides an atonement for your sin and a connection with God. Because Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. They can't hear that information. They don't want to hear about that information. But it is the most relevant information. And the part about being cut off from the earth, that may not seem very important now. The information about ending up in hell, that may not seem very important now. But in a very short amount of time, relatively very short amount of time, like this, okay, it will be highly relevant information, because all of a sudden a lot of these people will find out far too late, because once you die, it's too late. While you live, there's time to come to God. I couldn't say more urgently to fantastic people like James Rink and Jimmy Payne. I think these are at least respectable people. But you know what? I consider them friends, even if they don't like me and don't want to talk with me. And I know they don't. Okay, I know to a certain degree. In some ways they do, but in reality, because I am affiliated with Jesus Christ in the Bible, and they do not think that information is true, you are a religious lunatic. And I understand. I've been on the other side of it. You just don't like that kind of crap. I know. But God, if I could only tell them, if I could only convey to them, if I could only, somehow pray to God right now, Father in heaven, could you reveal the salvation of the blood of Jesus Christ on the cross to my friends, James Rink and Jimmy Payne, these fantastic men, okay, that have fabulous careers of doing all this incredible stuff and revealing all this stuff for humanity. Just mind-blowing, key facts that would be so ignorant compared to the information if we didn't have the information from Jimmy Payne, if we didn't have the information from James Rink, if we didn't have the information from a lot of the people that they've interviewed, or at least James has interviewed. Just fantastic, great material, okay? And just likable fellows, okay? I realize love may be one-sided in this case, okay? I know. Okay, maybe it's just because I'm a stupid hole. But in any case, whether or not it's that, or whether it's my affiliation with Jesus Christ, I like these guys. I like them. Okay, and I wish the best for them. And I just wish, when I listen to Jimmy Payne talking, and just these incredible, and there's a feeling that I get, listening to him, and all this stuff that they've been through is just amazing. Just incredible stuff, And they've been through so much, and they've served our country so well, and done so many great things as super soldiers. Well, James Rink, but Jimmy Payne, he doesn't consider himself a super soldier, but he is a superman. Okay, you can't, kill 6 people with 5 bullets from a football field and a half away. I used that example before, but a lot of other stuff. Okay, unless you are an exceptional person at least, okay, and likable, and he had association with a lot of these people. But fact of the matter is that in the end, according to someone like me, and this is why, I can't blame them for not liking somebody like me, but I would tell them that for it all, I know that the winning ticket, there's a winning and losing side to this. And you've got to make a friend of God through Jesus Christ, or else there ain't no happy ending. I just wish I could put it another way, they're going to do what they do, and fight what they fight for, and say what they say, and love who they love, and be with who they be with, and share what they share, and all that. But there's a continuance in the earth that God will allow, okay? For what? For showing honor towards He who is the creator of all souls, creator of this whole situation. He has the keys to heaven and hell. Jesus himself, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, says when He shuts, no one opens. And when He opens, no one shuts. Okay? He is the master of everything. Okay? Therefore, whether or not I'm an idiot or whatever else about me, I at least have decided, looking at this information, I am going to try my best. Doesn't mean I'll make it. Doesn't mean He'll shake my hand at the end. But I'm looking at this right now and saying, you know what? I'm gonna make a friend of this guy. Okay? I'm going to preach out of His Word, sharing His Word the best I can, and telling people that they should make a friend of Him, because Jesus Himself said, He who is not against us is for us, and he who is for us is not against us. Meaning, if you are for the name Jesus Christ and His work on the cross, which His work on the cross was specifically designed as a method and a symbol to come to God through Him, okay? He's the prince. He's a priest working for His Father, the Lord God Almighty in heaven, this is greater than someone, a foolish and ignorant and ill-behaving man like me is worthy to really talk of very much. Yet I'm still just worthy enough to be able to talk to some people who are interested in also this other information, exopolitics, what's happening out in space and the universe and everything, what's happening with the reptilian shapeshifters and other beasts living among us. And yet at the same time, I could take in all that, everything that nice lady, the cryptid huntress, shares. People like this guy on the that channel has a cool name, but for some reason I don't like to listen to him too much. No insult, buddy, but I just the confessionals. And for some reason, this is personal. I can listen to James Rink. Okay, I like watching his show, okay? There's other people that they share good information. Also, Elizabeth April, I've listened to her. She's some interesting information, but a lot of it, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, because I think some of this stuff, like there's other information, people coming out saying that the Galactic Federation of Light is actually darkness. So I don't know, like I said, a lot of it I don't know, but I'm trying to find out, and that's why I'm sharing with you guys.
And I remember, I'll swear on a stack of Bibles, I remember a lizard man in that office.
If you're watching this, it's not too late. Say this prayer now. Father in heaven, please save my soul by the work of your Son Jesus on the cross, and show me your pure words in the authorized King James Bible.